You are either a stomach sleeper, side sleeper, or back sleeper. This video will go over the best and worst positions for your neck, shoulder, and hip to prevent pain. Dr. Raj Maksudi here talking to you about sleep positions. Let's start with talking about the neck. Now there's 3 sleeping positions. Let's start with stomach sleeping. So if you have neck pain and you are a stomach sleeper, it makes sense because the problem with stomach sleeping is that in order to breathe, I have to rotate my neck into end position. And this is not a comfortable position for your neck to be in. Ideally, you keep a neutral position of your neck to avoid that end range position, which stretches a lot of the muscles and compresses the joints of the neck. So here's a tip to avoid that end range position. Place a pillow under your stomach if you are a neck sleeper or a stomach sleeper. This way, when you rotate your neck, it's relatively less rotation here. You can see that my neck is now more in line with my torso than if I was to ditch the pillow and completely rotate my neck fully. All that rotation happens from the neck versus here, I allow my body to open up a bit more and my neck is in relatively less rotation. So that's a tip if you are a stomach sleeper, because if not, you are gonna stress a lot of those joints. Now, if you are a side sleeper, the tip is to find an optimal size pillow. If the pillow is too small, let's say I just have something like this, like a towel, I'm gonna have to side bend a pretty good amount here. To do this, I'm gonna compress the joints on this side and stretch all the tissues on the top side. And on the flip side, if my pillow is too high, I'm gonna compress the joints on the top side and stress those tissues on the opposite side on the floor here. So you wanna find a position that allows your neck to be neutral. And if you want to have some extra support, you can even place a towel inside your pillowcase and put it to the bottom. That way it protects and provides a little more comfort to your neck in order for there to be no gap at all. And so this is a good position that you can be in as long as your neck is fairly neutral. You can take a photo of yourself to make sure that that's the case. Now, if you're a back sleeper, probably the best position for neck pain, all you have to do is make sure the pillow is not too high up where you're rounding your neck or too far down where you're arching the neck up. You want to find a neutral position again, and same idea, except there is a natural lordosis of the neck here, and you can place this towel inside the pillowcase towards the bottom, which will help maintain and provide support to that natural rounding of your cervical spine at the bottom position here. And you should be in a neutral position. If unsure, again, you can take a photo. And if you do have some neck pain, I'm gonna show you a bonus exercise. That way you can work on getting out of that neck pain in the first place. So this is gonna be a chin tuck. With the chin tuck, all you need to focus on in this flattened position, you can remove the pillow, is bringing the chin down. And you wanna flatten that curve of your spine. So you're flattening down, kind of pushing your neck into the floor and holding this for 10 seconds. You can place the tongue on the roof of your mouth in order to find those muscles of your neck. Hold, and then relax. Now this is gonna provide a lot of stability of your neck, which will reduce the amount of stress and strain that you place on the other tissues. So try that exercise out. Let's go into shoulder pain. Now let's talk about shoulder pain. So it's the same idea with the shoulder. You want to avoid end range positions. You want to ideally maintain a position that allows your shoulder to be in what's called open pack position. This is a position that allows your shoulder to remain around here. So if you're a stomach sleeper, the problem with that is that if you are laying down again in this position, the only ways I can sleep is allowing my shoulder to be in end range positions out here or across my body like this. So both of those positions are end range positions. So if you are a stomach sleeper, I would give the same tip of putting a pillow underneath your chest. That way you can open up your shoulder a little bit more and allow yourself to be supported and keeping that shoulder in more of an open pack or neutral position here. Now, if you're a side sleeper, and let's say you do have some shoulder pain, I would avoid laying on that shoulder. So if I have left shoulder pain, I'm gonna lay on my right side and then actually support my shoulder with another pillow in order for my shoulder to be in a more of that open pack or neutral position here. This will minimize the amount of stress that my shoulder has to go through. Now, if you're a back sleeper, this is probably the best position. I can pretty much keep my shoulders in a comfortable position no matter what. But if you do have some shoulder discomfort, again, you can keep a little more support by placing a pillow underneath your shoulder and your hand so that it maintains that open pack position, which minimizes the amount of stress that you put on the ligaments, the joint, and the soft tissue surrounding that shoulder area. So those are some tips based on sleep position, and I'm gonna give you a bonus exercise for the shoulder as well. A very simple movement. It's gonna be an isometric hold. So you have this band, you're pulling back with the shoulder blades and separating your hands as far as you can and just holding this for 10 seconds. This is gonna be great for targeting those rotator cuff muscles, which oftentimes get irritated when you lay on that shoulder or if you're in a weird, uncomfortable position. So do this, 10-second holds, perform this for 5 reps, and that should calm down a bit of that shoulder pain. Now let's go into hip pain. With hip pain during sleep, oftentimes people complain about this outer hip issue. This can be a couple different things, greater trochanteric bursitis or glute med tendinopathy. We'll link in a video here that actually explains the difference between the two. But with this issue, there are a couple different sleep positions we would recommend. Now, laying on your stomach is actually good for this because there's no stress that you're gonna place on the outer hip area. However, a lot of times people do notice some back irritation with laying on your stomach. So if that's the case, what you can do is put a pillow underneath your stomach, just in front of your pelvis. That way you can avoid the amount of extension or arching that your back goes through, and you find a little more support for that low back area. Now, if you're a side sleeper, what you wanna do is place that pillow in between your knees and your ankles. A lot of times people miss the ankles part, so they just do the knees and their hip falls into external rotation here. But if you get that pillow in between both of those body regions, you're gonna maintain a much more neutral position of the hips and avoid the stress and strain that you place on that outer hip area. And if you have a body pillow, same thing. Place that body pillow around your body and then also all the way through your knees and your ankles to minimize the amount of rotation that your hip has to go through. But with the shoulder, be careful because you don't want that shoulder to be too far forward. You want to keep it in more of that open pack neutral position that's out here. So that's side sleeping. On your stomach, on your back, it's also fairly safe because you're not putting much stress on that outer hip area. But if that's the case, and you do still notice some discomfort, you can put the pillow underneath your thighs, or if you want to elevate it further, that'll put you in more of an open pack position, which will minimize the amount of stress on your hip joint. So this will help out versus keeping your legs completely straight. It will stress some of the tissue a little bit more. So this is a recommended position, and also this is good for the lower back because it does not fall into as much extension. It keeps you in a little more of a neutral position here. So those are the 3 positions. Now, if you do have some of that hip pain, especially that outer hip pain, an exercise that I will recommend is the supine clam. So I'm gonna show you this exercise real quick. I have a band around both of my knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and in this position, all I'm gonna do is spread the band as much as I can with keeping my feet flat. I don't wanna roll my feet outwards. I want to allow the rotation to come from the hips and get those glute muscles activated. The more tissue I have around this area here, the more stress is going to be placed on the muscle when I lay on my side versus putting stress on that bursa or that glute, for example. So I want to build up glute exercise tolerance and load capacity by doing an exercise like this. Hold for 2 rounds of 30 seconds. And that is going to be your glute exercise. In summary, some discomfort during sleep will happen. It's important to know how to set yourself up for success if you find yourself in that situation. For neck pain, support yourself with a pillow that encourages a neutral spine. For shoulder pain, use a pillow at the elbow and the forearm to support that open pack position. For the hips, use a pillow between the knees in a side-lying position or a pillow behind your thighs if you're laying on your back. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope some of these tips helped you out. Let us know if there's any other topics that you want us to cover.
Hey, did you like this video? If you did, you should definitely check out the Prehab app. It includes all of our programs, a brand new workout library, and tons more videos like the one you saw today. Check it out by clicking on this link. You get a free trial. Take control of your health today.